to my channel, Horror by Scary Mary. So in today's video, I'm doing something a little bit different than like us, talking about Scream. I am technically going to be talking about the horror, like the horror community and all that. But today I'm going to do a ranking video, which I wanted to do something that's different and that it has been done, but not nearly as much. So today I wanted to do a ranking of the horror slash thriller subgenres or just genres in general. A few of these, more like one or two or maybe three, are definitely more on the thriller side than it is horror, but thriller, in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinion, is a horror subgenre. So the ones that I'm going to be ranking today is home invasion, abduction slash kidnap, and I know that abduction pretty much means kidnap. But then the other one I wanted to rank is ghost story slash paranormal. Then religious, and I know that religious can kind of go with ghost story slash paranormal because especially as of late in the last decade or so, we've had a lot of ghost story, paranormal, religious horror. But anyways, I digress. Then the next one that I'm going to rank as well is sci-fi slash sci-fi horror, aliens, that sort of stuff. And then creature features, the last one as I'm going to be talking about. And creature features, I would say, probably is one that gets overlooked, I think, just because there's so many in that whole genre of creature features. You have the original popular one, like say Jaws, for example, is probably a good one that people tend to go towards because it's a shark, a man-eating shark, whatever. But another creature feature that I like that is also seems to be very popular nowadays is The Thing, for example. Some other ones, of course, we're going to go way back from like what, the 30s or 40s, the creature from the Blue Lagoon, that is kind of like the OG that kind of started it out. But other movies that I tend to like in that is, of course, Jaws. But actually, I'm going to talk about each genre as I rank them, so I'm not going to get to. So let's just get right into the ranking. So, in my number 6 ranking, because there's 6, that was 6, because you got home invasion, abduction, ghost story, slash paranormal. Then you got religious and sci-fi horror, and creature features. Sorry, I'm like on my list. It's like trying to get it in order. So in 6th place is abduction slash kidnap, and the two that are in last place, you'll be surprised that is in 6th and 5th place, mainly because these two are like the most likely to happen in real life, which is funny because it can happen in real life. So yeah, abduction and kidnap are my least favorite in the horror trope or in the horror genre or subgenre, mainly because sometimes it gets overly done, and I can honestly say a lot of these can get overly done, but it's just, and I just, it kind of goes in that fine line since it's an abduction, kidnap, and usually with abduction slash kidnap is usually kids that get kidnapped or a defenseless woman. And I'm not trying to be like a feminist or anything like that. I am one, but it just kind of gets old. It gets a little too old, even though it is scary and can be scary and is, out of all these, along with my number 5, is the most likely to happen. But it's still my least favorite. So you have like abduction, kidnap. Just trying to think at the top of my head. Put in the comments down below examples of the abduction and kidnap. Actually, at the top of my head is Kiss the Girls. That is a good movie. It's not, I don't think it's really necessarily talked about that much, and it is, of course, a book to movie adaptation. So anyway, Kiss the Girls, and I have recommended that movie, and even the book is good as well. I have recommended that book and movie in a couple of my previous videos, and it has Morgan Freeman and Ashley Judd and even Carrie Allies. from Princess and the Bride, The Princess and the Bride. So that would be a good one because Ashley Judd's character gets kidnapped by some unknown assailant and she escapes because she, found a way to get out. So that would be a good one. Another one is The Call with like, oh my gosh, her name just escaped me, but also has Abigail Breslin. And so yeah, those are a couple that are just kind of at the top of my head. My number 5 is Home Invasion. Again, it's along with the abduction is ones that could definitely happen in real life, but I can't remember the name of the movie, but um, it's one with, it's kind of in recent years, within the last 5 to 8 years. It's it has Dennis Quaid in it, and he is upset. And of course, this trope is always in all these types of videos with not only a home invasion but the abduction, where a young couple move in next door to a slightly older man, and the slightly older man kind of is infatuated with the young couple, like the young woman in the couple relationship, and things like that. And that's kind of what that movie was with Dennis Quaid. And then another obvious one that is home invasion in a sense is Us. Even though technically it was, if you've seen Us, you know the plot line, but that would be in a scenario of kind of a similar of a home invasion. So yeah, or even The Strangers and Strangers Pray at Night, where the three masked um, killers come in and whatnot. So even though most likely to happen, doesn't scare me that well. So yeah, my number 4 is going to be religious. Like, don't get me wrong, it's just there are some really excellent religious horror movies like The Exorcist. Like, oh my gosh, that's like a good one, amazing. It's just like, I think the reason why The Exorcist was so ahead of its time and so well made and so well done is because at that time not that many horror movies were out that were religious, and now within the last 2 decades, maybe even 3 decades, there's been so many religious horror movies that are like, it's just beating it to death. Like it's to the point like, okay, stop with the religious horror. Like, it's getting too much, too much, too much. I haven't seen, and I know I should because I heard good things, but I haven't watched Immaculate all the way through, and I heard some really, really good things about it and some really not good things about it. So, but that's just like a in case of like, oh my gosh, maybe that is the straw that broke the camel's back to like stop with the religious horror. And kind of with like the Conjuring universe slash the Nun and Nun 2, like, I never really was the biggest fan of the Nun or the Nun 2. I actually think I like the Nun 2 better than the first one. Kind of like how I didn't really like the original Annabelle, but I liked Annabelle Creation and Annabelle Comes Home better than the original Annabelle. But I did, however, like the Nun in the Conjuring movies, like in Conjuring 1 and Conjuring 2. I liked her as a character on her own. I don't know if we necessarily needed to have her as a spin-off and have her own movie, because I think what worked with the Nun in the Conjuring universe is that she was her own like character, but you only need it for just a sec. Like, it's like, it made it more scary when she didn't necessarily have an origin story or necessarily needed to have her own movie to have it be the sole focus on her. You know what I mean? But anyway, religious, I think, is getting a little too much. My third place, which is surprising to me because I don't watch them often, this one often enough, because they're not necessarily my favorite movies in the horror in the horror community, but I still like them nonetheless, and that's the sci-fi horror. And but I do love Alien and Aliens and stuff because Sigourney Weaver, oh my gosh, love her in those films. And of course, I would even say like the Terminator would be a great one as well, even though technically it's not. Some people would argue that wouldn't necessarily be a horror or a thriller, but you have some very intense sequences in those Terminator films. So I would say that the Terminator would be a good sci-fi horror. And then of course you got They Live, things like that. So that one, I just think like the elements of sci-fi and horror just work really well together. And another one that I haven't seen in so long that I kind of rewatched. Oh my gosh, what is the name? It just went on my head, but I think I'll just try to put the name right here when I find out what it is, and I'll let you know. But my next one that is going to be in second place is going to be Creature Features. And this one is also surprising since I don't watch those often enough as well. But if I'm like when I had cable, now I just have streaming. But if I see these movies when I had cable, when I was flipping through the channels and I see that's on, I'll stop and watch it. Or if I see it on a streaming service like Roku or Tubi or any of the free ones or whatever, then I'll just maybe pop it on. But it's Creature Features. And again, you could say that even The Thing would go in this category as well, not just sci-fi horror, but Creature Features like The Thing. And then I also think that, again, Creature Features with, the creature from the Blue Lagoon, and then that created it all, whatever. And then also, other ones that I think that I really enjoyed was, oh my gosh, Lake Placid. You had Killer Crocs and things like that, and you had a little bit of comedy in there. And then another one that I really enjoyed was Anaconda and Anacondas. Any kind of like deadly creature, from crocs to snakes to big old spiders, it's great. And then like they're just, even though they're stupid and not necessarily pointless, but they are, but it just, for me, is oddly a great time. But I would say like the Creature Features like that, but I like Placid, the original. I've seen a couple of the sequels and they're okay, but I like Anaconda and all that. So things like that is fun. And just because I don't think, like, I mean, there's so many of them, like especially B and C movies of the Creature Features that are super low budget, super like low budget. That's like, oh my gosh, why I knew that. But another popular creature feature that is probably getting more popular now is like The Shallows. So far, there's two Shallow movies. Got The Shallows with Blake Lively, and then you got The Shallows Uncaged. Or is no, I'm getting confused. Sorry, you got The Shallows, and I don't think that there's a sequel to that. It's 47 meters down. There you go, another shark movie. So Jaws. Jaws is like the original that it kind of blew up and it made it popular. And then you also have like I said, 47 meters down, and then you have 47 meters down Uncaged, and of course The Shallows with Blake Lively. So those type of stuff, I think that out of all those newer ones, the Shallows and 47 meters down are probably the more popular of the two. I don't think that maybe the 47 meters down did slightly better than the original, but I don't know. But I didn't personally go see the 47 meters down. Actually, I never really even seen the Shallows, but I just know that was a popular one mainly because of Blake Lively and stuff like that. But anyway, um, the number one, of course, is going to be Ghost Story Paranormal. And I know that a lot of people don't necessarily agree with Ghost Story / Paranormal. They have it probably have it up on lower on their list. Like, they wouldn't have it this high. Mainly because I think for the same reason of the religious one that I'm saying, they probably are thinking the same thing as me as the religious, that there's just too many paranormal / ghost stories going on. And again, religious ghost story paranormal ones are definitely up there and so on. But anyway, I just think that there's just something about the ghost story paranormal, and I think I like my kind of personality and stuff is I like ghost stories / gothic type of feel type of stories. So like I love like for example The Others with Nicole Kidman. That's one of my favorite ones. And of course The Sixth Sense is a good one that I really love and thought it was like a great story and a great ending. So stuff like that to me is like really amazing. Yes, those are slower burns and not as scary as like going boo ah, but they are still good stories, ghost stories, I think. And I would even put in there like um, the Woman in Black. That one is a good one, and I think that Daniel Radcliffe did an amazing job in that movie. So, and then I think another one that is really good too is Crimson Peak. I don't think that that movie gets as much credit as I think it should because it has that gothic feel to it, and that's what I'm saying is that I like the gothic feel of it. Another one that I really enjoy that I think that even after all these years and how many times I've watched it, it has a nice ghost story feel to it, and it's Rose Red, Stephen King's Rose Red. I currently have it on DVD. I used to have it on VHS when it was the two, just like Titanic, the two VHSs, because it was that long. And there's like with Stephen King's It was also a double header of VHS. But yeah, there's just something about the ghost story, and it has to be a good ghost story slash paranormal. That's what I'm saying. I like um, The Sixth Sense and the others, and Rose Red and things like that, is because it just the story just flows so beautifully, and so on. So, anyways, that's my ranking. I hope that you guys like this ranking. Tell me what you think and of these 6 subgenres, and what you would add, what you would rank them, if you would agree, disagree, and add any subgenres to that list, and maybe even put in some of your favorites of these genres. I hope that you guys have a good day. Thanks for watching.